Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Card Lounge. We are journeying.
We are journeying together, guys.
Journeying.
I'm keeping this cut. We are journeying together, guys.
How did I say that? Are we going to keep that?
I'm keeping that.
All right,
We're
keep
keeping
it.
that.
Keep it.
It's an official cut now.
Oh, man.
That's how we're starting this. We are journeying together.
We're journeying together, guys. We have Journey Together. And Jake and I thought it would be fun to start this episode because Journey Together comes out this week by doing a little 3-pack battle.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So.
All right. I will announce for all of our audio listeners.
Oh, you know what'd be fun?
Jake's now cutting open the booster box.
I just thought of this right now. But we're going to do a pack battle. But all the polls from our 6 booster pack, let's do it as a giveaway.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's do it as a giveaway, guys.
All right, guys. So again, like this video, leave comments down below. Try to share the video out. We are going to pack battle, but
whatever we pull, we're giving it away.
If we pull Lily's Clefairy,
we're giving it away.
You're not going to want that.
We're giving it away.
I'm going to want it, but we're going to give it away to someone.
Yeah.
And one of you lucky winners at home is going to get a Lily's Clefairy because I'm going to maybe pull it. Oh, okay. Ooh,
or you can pull 6 holo rares.
Or, yeah, we're probably going to get 6 holo rares.
If we pull 6 holo rares, I'll make sure to give you some sealed packs along with
This is kind of cool. Okay, I'm showing the camera, guys, for everyone watching. So right on top, this is a new thing that Pokemon started to do. Or actually, they're bringing it back, right? Do you know the last set where they did this?
I do not remember the last set with a box topper.
I think it was Holland Phantoms.
But the thing is, you're saying they're bringing it back as if we're getting guaranteed box toppers in future sets too. Do you know that for sure?
Oh, I guess to your point, right? Well, it'd be weird if they just did it for this and then stopped.
I have no idea.
I don't. But yeah, I guess we don't know.
Can you imagine if Destined Rivals also had a box topper? How insane that would be.
If it's like a Rockets Mewtwo with a stamp, people will lose their lids. This is okay. So for everyone at home, there's a Journey Together stamped Ends Reshiram. It's the same illustration rare that you can pull in the box of Ends Reshiram. But it's got a nice little Scarlet Violet Journey Together just stamp on it. It is the same type of stamp that they put on the alternate art cards from Build and Battles. And we were just talking earlier how it's odd that people really care about this new stamped illustration rare, but no one really cares about the Build and Battle stamped cards.
It's the exact same stamp as what we're saying is that it says Scarlet and Violet Journey Together, and if you look inside of Build and Battle boxes, they'll say Fusion Strike, Chilling Rain, whatever set they come from. So it's the exact same stamp in the exact same spot, but this card is definitely a little bit more prestigious, and that's what people feel the vibes of.
Totally. And do we think it's just because this is an illustration rare and not just like a regular Pokemon card with a stamp?
That is much cooler than a Build and Battle holo rare, for sure. But is it like $50 cooler? That's the difference
I don't know.
We're talking about. Yeah. So we'll see. This card, maybe it'll go up to $100 if they reprint Journey Together. And you and I have talked about this a little bit off podcast. But if they reprint Journey Together, which they will, and they don't continue doing the box topper, this might be a little bit more exclusive of a rarity. People might even prefer the sealed booster boxes with the box topper knowing it's inside.
Correct.
As a premium of some kind.
And you will notice, guys, that for the booster boxes that have that illustration rare inside, it basically looks the same as a regular booster box, but in the top right, it says includes 1 bonus illustration rare. There's like this little red tag. So there is like a visual significance on the box that, or some sort of difference that shows that it's a enhanced booster box.
Yeah, and there are versions of them without the enhanced illustration rares. Like, not every single booster box contains it. We have seen booster boxes without this. I know they exist. I don't know how exactly the distribution of these work. We'll figure it out as more and more of these come out. Yeah. But so far, all of the ones that I've gotten have gone the illustration rares inside. So do you want to try picking 3 booster packs? It doesn't have to be from the front.
I will
Which one do you feel has the Lily's Clefairy?
Well, I just picked up a Lily's Clefairy pack, so I'll pick that. I'll pick End Zoroark pack. And you know what? Right off the you know what? I'll find a Hops. Where's a Hops? Okay, you know what? I'll take the front one. And a Hops oh my god, why am I blanking? Zacian. And a Hops Zacian. Boom. These are my 3 packs.
That looks like a Lugia to me.
What looks like a Lugia to you?
I'm just messing with you. Oh, we got 2 Ns. Oh, I guess I'm doing pure N.
Two
Do I want to do
ends.
pure end? No. I'm also going to do a Lily's Clefairy. We got to at least try one.
All right.
This feels a little bit heavy. It might be.
What?
It feels a little bit heavy.
Mine don't feel heavy.
None of them feel a little bit heavy. If you can compare them.
All right, let's
This one definitely feels a little bit
Let me
heavier.
feel that pack.
Tell me that doesn't feel a little bit heavier. Dude, you just
Oh my
swapped them.
gosh.
Give me that.
No,
give
wait.
me that. Yeah.
No, because I want to feel the weight, but it
Give me that pack back. Dude, stop swapping around my pack.
it does feel a little. All right, wait. Open. Okay,
Dude, don't
you
mess
open
with
that, and here's a light Lily's Clefairy.
All right. We're going to open.
What if it's the same weight and we're just
You know, have you ever
right.
tried weighing the modern packs? The heavier ones do not mean that they
have
guarantee
hits?
it.
Right.
Yeah.
That comment bugs me so much online when people say that, and it's like, dude, you can just physically.
I can tell you
do
this
it.
one has a hit though. I don't know what the hit
Whoa.
is, but I see a little something on
And
the
you
corner.
felt it? Okay.
Yeah.
We're dropping the code card. All right. Here. All right. So here, you go and I'll tell. Okay, so Jake just pulled the Magmar, the Wooloo, Bagon, Sanaconda.
I call it bacon.
Hop
Bacon.
Sanaconda, Caparaja, Ends Castle, Mr. Mime, Reverse Hollow, a Alolan Geodude, Reverse Hollow, and a Mimikyu EX.
I'll take it. I'll
like
take
that.
it.
That looks cool.
So far, I'm technically winning this pack battle.
All right, this is Robo, first pack, boom, Shelgon, Milcery, Wooper, Black Belts Training, Greedent, Regice, Cramorant, Ends Darumaka, a Swinub,
Oh!
and a Mamoswine EX.
Dude, we're
so
tied.
We're tied. Okay.
All right. The good news is that whoever wins these
Very
cards
cool.
are at least getting something.
Yeah, you're getting some EXs, guys.
At the very minimum.
Okay. All right.
Hang on. Let me feel these packs. This one feels a little bit heavier.
This kind of just proved, though, like, it was kind of weird. Yours did feel a little whatever, but mine didn't, and we
Yeah.
both just got the same rarity out of the packs. So,
All right. Well, we've already pulled 2 hits, so the
All right.
odds are these next 2 packs statistically.
Jake got a Noibat, Rockruff. Ooh, that Noibat is a Tomokazu Kamoya. Hops Bag, Ends Clink Clang, Torkoal,
Holographic
Pancham.
Pancham, and Lily's
Rabombi.
Rabombi.
All right,
Partners Pokemon.
I got a Nimble, Larvitar, Remoraid, Carablast, Greedent, Regice, Iris's Fighting Spirit, Verizon Wireless,
Verizon Wireless. I love
Ends
that.
Clink, and a Magearna.
Oh, it's all coming down to this final pack. That's just the
all
way
right,
I like it.
We're tied. All right.
We're
This is
tied.
it.
I like that you call it Verizon the same way I
This
call
is-
Bagon Bacon.
Bacon.
I think a lot of people also have like
Bacon.
fun little nicknames for different Pokemons out there.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah, I think it's fun to have nicknames.
All right, let me do mine first.
Yeah, so we can keep the order.
Oh, you know what? How about we do it at the same time?
Well, then how will we visually read?
That's a good
We have
call.
to read
All right,
off
all right.
for
I'll
the
start
audio
off with
listeners. Yeah. All right. Jake just pulled Parasect, Pupitar, a Geodude, an Audino, a Super Potion, Hops Corviknight, Banette, Carblast, Iono's Watchroll,
Final pack.
and
Lycan Rock.
regular
Rare.
hollow Lycanroc. All right,
all on
guys.
you, buddy.
I'm gonna not. Jake, you read these.
We got ourselves Togedemaru,
Okay.
Scovet, Paris, Milcery,
It's
Cramorant,
Milcery, I think.
Maractus, Cactus, Cappuccino,
A cappuccino.
Matang Holographic Reverse, Combuskin,
Did we really not get an AR
and
or
an
anything?
illustration rare
No.
Lily's Clefairy.
I got a regular Ludicolo.
You got a regular. Okay, for 6 booster pack, that's about right. You get 2 hits in 6 packs. They weren't the best hit. I'm okay with this. We
Some
balance it out.
EXs. Well, whoever wins this, me and Jake will sign one of the. We'll pick out one of the like cards on it and we'll sign it. We'll try to do one of the reverse hollows or
Sure.
one
We'll-
of the non-EXs.
We'll for sure have more pack battles in the future.
It'll make
And
it
that was fun.
a little more special. That was fun. I'm sorry we couldn't pull you guys a Lily's Clefairy. We tried. All right, nice. So, you know what? And that's a perfect kind of segue to just lead into, I guess, expectations being met for Journey Together, how we feel about the set, and what the first week is going to look like. As far as right now, market price, we're already seeing boxes going for almost $300 a booster box. And you said you've seen people buy them. There's confirmed sales.
Yeah, there's confirmed sales of booster boxes reaching close to $300. And the thing is, I don't see prices dropping. It's because everyone's supply is drying out. So no one's selling it for cheaper because they cannot get it for cheaper.
Right.
It's up to really the viewers if they want to pick it up at $300. That's very excessive. We talked about how expensive Journey Together, and I remember this was in episode 2 or 3, but we talked about how, we think Journey Together, even for full MSRP, is kind of expensive. But it's context,
it's
right?
It's clearly not, right?
Context is that it was expensive then, but it's an incredible deal now.
Right, and supply and demand in the sense that if we truly feel this set isn't that special, it's kind of like today. You got a case in. I don't have any Journey Together yet. I was like, well, just as a customer, as a fan of Pokemon, where can I go right now to buy some? And I called multiple places, and everywhere is sold out. If people just had loads of this stuff, they would be undercutting each other in the market trying to sell their boxes. But everyone's able to keep this price this high, and people are paying for it, which lets me know that people don't have enough supply, not even shops, you can't get enough of this stuff to even meet the demand of your local scene, let alone, making sure every Pokemon collector gets a box in their neighborhood. What about people that want to open 2 boxes, 6 boxes, 2 cases, It's going to be tough to get a hold of this set.
Yeah. And we did talk about this a little bit, is that the prices on the cards are pretty high right now in terms of the prices on any illustration rare. For most older sets, the illustration rares could be $1, $2, $3.
Right, yeah.
But now the illustration rares inside of Journey Together, they're going for $10 minimum.
They're coming out the gate swinging. So that is something we've noticed the shift on since Twilight Masquerade Surging Sparks. When I was opening up Scarlet Violet base, even Paldea Evolved early on, I mean, the fish kind of had a premium. And because it had that premium, it was you could see how it would keep getting more and more expensive. I didn't think it'd be as expensive as it is now. But a lot of art rares were just $2, $3, maybe $6, $7 cards.
And I thought that was extremely underrated because if you pull any booster pack, you'd be happy to pull any illustration rare.
Right.
So if an illustration rare is cheaper than the cost of a booster pack, it's just worth it.
That's how you know it's wrong, right? And so anyone that I guess used that simple logic should pick up any illustration rare at under $4. Yeah. And I guess I didn't do, you think about it in hindsight, why didn't I just pick, I should know that this is, but I do that in other ways with other rares for other rarities. And so there's always a different thing. But just as a general rule, I think that logic is sound. And now what I would say, though, is based on that logic and how special an illustration rare is, right, they should be sitting at 10, 12, $15 maybe, but is it a little excessive that the Articuno out of Journey Together is $50 and I'm sure other ones are $30, $40. That seems kind of high.
You and I have talked a little bit about this. It's just a chicken and egg problem, which is do the illustration rares command the price of the booster boxes or the sealed products, or do the sealed products command the prices on the illustration rares?
Right.
And it's a little bit of give and take. They both kind of feed into each other.
Yeah.
For me, for instance, I would say right now, the booster box or the sealed products prices kind of command the prices because if a booster box is $300, the illustration rares inside have to have a premium to them because the packs are so insanely expensive. And you might say it's the other way.
No, actually, it's so funny you just said it. I think I figured it out. I'm wondering if people are thinking this at home after hearing what you just said. The chicken and the egg thing, I know why it shifts. Right now, people just got this stuff in hand. Not enough of the supply of the raw cards is out in the marketplace.
You're right.
But the marketplace has been flooded with booster boxes. This is where the chicken and egg switch. When you think about why are vintage boxes so expensive? Why is a base set box so expensive? But some of the singles you can buy for a cheap price. But the Charizard we know is such a huge chase, especially if you grade it in a 10. It kind of dictates the price of the booster box. but it's because it's all been opened. There's more Charizards, there's more raw cards of the set in the market. So I think as more and more of these boxes get opened up, the box price gets more so determined by the market and how we're all trading and buying and selling the actual singles. Because when the singles start to be flooded in the market, as we've already talked about, we think the prices of the Articuno being at 50, like it'll go down. Like the other illustration rares will go down. And that makes sense because everyone right now is opening up these boxes and it's just going to flood the market with singles. And then as the singles become the thing that's more prominent in the market, then I think the cards dictate the prices of the boxes, and then the box price goes down as a result.
The general rule of thumb is that any new products that is ever released, the singles inside of the set will be cheaper and cheaper over time. It's usually the case.
Well, unless it's like a single that everyone wants.
Right. There are exceptions to every rule, but the general rule of thumb is that usually whenever a set is open up or a brand new set, any of the singles inside of the set will usually decline in value over time until it reaches a bottoming point, and that's the best time to pick it up, which is like a year or two after the set is released. And then slowly it starts to appreciate in value because the set's out of print and people suddenly really
new collectors
start enjoying it.
There's just more. There'll always be more people per capita than cards. Misprint! Guys, what are you doing? How come you haven't gone to misprint.com and set up your account, sign into Misprint? You're missing out on all of the mispriced deals, which are these cards, slabs you can get at a fraction of the price.
Absolutely. Every single day, I always shop on misprint.com where I browse the website and just look for really, really good deals because they always seem to have cards that are underpriced, cards that I think are fantastic, and they're way cheaper than eBay or wherever else you buy your graded Pokemon cards.
Yeah, and it's great because you can actually find the listings for those cards so much easier. I just type in the exact Pokemon card that I'm looking for, and then I will see that card instead of searching like on another place or another website where you have to sift through all these different listings that have different price points and shipping costs. It's so much easier when it's all just in one spot.
I absolutely agree because you don't have to look at photos or squint your eyes to see if a card is nicely centered or if there's whitening on the cards because Misprint sells graded Pokemon cards, which means I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm getting a CGC 10 or a PSA 9 or a BGS 8, whichever one of these grading companies, I know the exact grade of the card that I'm going to be getting.
So if you want to support the Card Lounge podcast and support me and Jake so that we can keep the lights on in this place and keep the cameras rolling, go to misprint.com, sign up today, and start finding cards at a great price.
Misprint.com is also offering a collection service where you can have all of your cards cataloged on Misprint. They are a fantastic service with all kinds of opportunities for new and experienced collectors. Check them out today, and thank you so much to Misprint.com for sponsoring today's episode of the Card Lounge podcast. I absolutely agree with you, is that for vintage stuff, right, there's always going to be less and less sealed products because people are constantly ripping it open.
Right.
But the singles will always increase in quantity because with every one less booster pack, there's more cards
that go in the market.
So it's a supply and demand thing where for older products, sealed products keeps getting less and less, but singles keep getting more and more.
Right, and they're directly correlated inversely in such that every time a box opens, you get more of the cards into the market. So yeah, it's interesting, and then eventually it gets to the point where even with a bunch of cards that are on the market, 2, 3, 4 years later, they just become rare and harder to find.
It is fun. Fun.
Well, they find permanent homes in people's like collections. Like people keep opening up. I see booster box breaks of like Unbroken Bonds.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And yet I don't see that Latios or the Latios getting cheaper, right? It's because
it's in team up. Unbroken Bonds.
You're right.
I know what you're talking about.
Team up, though. Right.
But I was thinking the same thing, which is every time a team up booster box is open, I do a tiny little cheer. It's not a big cheer, but I do a tiny little cheer because I say, yes, my sealed team up booster box is worth a tiny little bit more.
Or going more? Well, right. But then you would think like, as these boxes get opened up, how come the Latios alt art doesn't get cheaper and cheaper over time? It's just because it's been determined as a
the supply is increasing, but at that point, the demand is outpacing
the supply. Exactly.
Let's say the supply is increasing like 1 additional copy a day.
Yeah.
But every day there's 2 additional person that wants it.
Then it doesn't even matter. Right.
It's not catching up. That's the same thing that's happening with like the Umbreon VMAX that we're talking about, like the Moonbreon, the one from Evolving Skies. You and I have said this. There's 16,000 PSA 10 copies,
so much.
which is a ton of them, but the demand is outpacing the supply. It's that there's more than 16,000 people that are willing to pay for it. So, and that's what's happening.
So do you think it ever gets to a point where, I mean, they printed a lot of Evolving Skies. Like, we know so many people, even just between the two of us, that have sealed Evolving Skies that they've like tucked away, right?
Yeah, I have Evolving Skies booster boxes. You have Evolving Skies booster boxes.
Right. In a way, though, it is kind of like interesting because people like to. This was a big thing people said in the Sword and Shield era, was just that, Sword and Shield era stuff will never be super expensive. This is the junk wax era. I remember
they say that for every new set.
Right.
Every new series.
Well, yeah, I guess they said that about Scarlet Violet too. It's like they print so much of it. There's so much of it. It can't be worth anything.
This gets repeated every single new series. X and Y. Everyone said X and Y is completely overprinted. It's all going to go to the ground. Then everyone says Sun and Moon is overprinted. It's going to go to the ground. Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet is overprinted. I hear that repeated. And every time they say it, it's technically true for that period of time. Is that for when Scarlet and Violet was released, yes, it's overprinted, but they're not accounting for the more people that are collecting. Like, Pokemon card collecting is still a rising hobby. Like, it's still growing. There's still more people added to the hobby.
Right.
So it's overprinted in 2022, but it's now underprinted in 2025.
So, okay, then that's my ultimate question then. I guess, to your point, and for all those of you listening, you guys are lucky that you guys are listeners of the Card Lounge podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, because I think I can firmly say then, with how long we've been in the hobby, I don't think anyone really has to worry about this like overprinting. Like, whenever someone says, "Oh, guys, they overprinted this set," the supply will always outpace demand. So don't buy this set
right now.
That's just never true. And the only way it could be true is if like Pokemon becomes so like mainstream. Like, there's still so many new people that can join the hobby every single day.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people's lives of people we know that don't even care about Pokemon.
I know where you're coming from, Rob, and I know you're really excited, but I'm just going to say right now, no one is saying the word Pokemon is printing too much. No one.
What, right now?
Right now, no one is saying those words.
Some people are saying that now.
Someone is saying Pokemon is overprinting right now?
Yes.
Right now, when every booster box is over $200? Yeah, I want to talk to that guy.
Well, you know what I noticed?
Bring that guy in as guest.
It's a lot of the, I'll say this. It's not to like call any like one specific person out, but I notice a trend with that statement being said amongst the like the more vintage collectors that you know the whole battle between like vintage collecting and modern. So they would just argue that so much modern, even right now, and even Sword and Shield, and this whole modern era, let's just say the last 5 or 7 years,
I know what you're talking about
is
now.
So overprinted.
I know what you're talking about.
10 years from now, or looking at a more legacy timeline,
yes,
they're saying like there's just so much of it that it can't be worth or maintain the prices that it's at right now.
I know exactly the kind of person that you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes more sense, because I would say for the regular viewer, you would most likely say, "Oh, we're not currently overprinted." The person that Rob is talking about is someone is focused on the vintage side. They focus on the supply side. They like cards where there's less than 1,000 of them in a population report or something. And when they see 16,000 in a population report, they refuse to believe that like that number could ever be in demand. Like that number alone is enough to scare them. They're like, 16,000 is ridiculous for Umbreon VMAX.
Of course, right. And it is a large number when you think about like all the other populations for cards that have been out for so much longer, you know.
And I get that.
And have had so much time for someone to find that card in their collection or open a box and grade that card.
I get that. Yeah. And I've discussed this before, is that the dichotomy of it is that there are a lot more people collecting modern. Modern is really hot. And the new wave of Gen Z collectors, they like Umbreon VMAX. Mm-hmm. If you hold up a first edition base set Charizard or an Umbreon VMAX to most like young kids. They would just prefer the shinier, the cooler card, and they just don't have the same level of like attachment to a base set Charizard that we always think there should be.
Right. Is that, you know what's so funny? But then it's not like the prices of those OG cards are they're maybe getting outpaced in growth, but they're not like you know what's so funny? You know what? I would challenge that statement you just said. Like, unless the kid is very, very young, they don't even have to be necessarily an expert in the hobby yet, or however
we would have to
is.
make the cards equal value. But I would say, a slightly damaged or played copy of first edition base set Charizard would probably be worth close to a mint copy of an Umbreon VMAX today. And we could go to a convention and compare the two and see who would pick the two. And that would be a fun short video.
That would be I was going to say, that would be such a fun video to actually ask kids and get hear it from the horse's mouth, because I almost want to believe that most kids, they still know. Like, I see kids all the time at Collecticon where they're like, oh, it's the OG Zard, or they just call it like it's like, oh, holographic
and it's not like
Charizard.
It's not like the first edition base set Charizard. It's a worthless card. It's still a super expensive card. But I think that's the difference, is that there are expensive vintage cards, and they'll always remain prestigious to the right audience. Mm-hmm. But now there's a group of people that collect modern,
right?
And they just prefer that. There's people now with binders who have no base set cards or vintage cards at all.
Totally, and I see that a lot with I guess a perfect example of that is like illustration rares, right? Because that is a fairly new thing. And I even remember when I was getting back into the hobby, the illustration rare was just they kind of started it with Cosmic Eclipse before even calling it an illustration rare, right? But those were just like what was the name for those? Not partnered, or was it partner Pokemon cards? Not like trainer, or I guess they were just like, the name was just the Pokemon, but it always had the trainer or the gym leader's picture in it.
I don't know if they ever had an official name for it.
Right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why that's escaping me right now.
Because they never named it. It was not a true subset. Trainer Gallery was a true subset.
And those were called
Galarian
Trainer
Galleries was a true subset.
Correct.
But for Cosmic Eclipse, they made those secret rares, but they never gave them a name.
An official subset, but I thought in the hobby, people called it a special.
I would have to dig into what the name is.
I would have to. Dude, I think there is one, but I don't know why it's escaping me. Or am I just like, okay, well, if someone knows,
I still call them Trainer Galleries today. I just call Cosmic Eclipse cards Trainer Gallery cards.
Oh, maybe that's what it, or no, because the term Trainer Gallery wasn't until after.
Well,
or was it?
It's adopted now that those are Trainer Galleries.
Correct.
So it's hard for me to go back and call them something that we thought used to be called, I guess.
Yeah.
For like a month or two.
But okay, still, to my point, just being that like, I remember looking at those cards and being like, oh, these are unique. These are cool. Yeah. And then after they started doing them in Sword and Shield and then making these like little subsets, you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is like a, but it wasn't in every, Sword and Shield thing. It wasn't like a guaranteed thing out of every set. That it's like, oh, there's these new chases and everything beyond just the top chase alt arts or the gold cards. I guess because also in Sword and Shield you had the rainbows, which they kind of got rid of, but then they kind of brought back in Scarlet and Violet, but in a different way,
The hyper rare, rainbow rare cards were never that popular.
Right.
And I agree with that.
But they were considered hits.
They were absolutely hits. They were the big chase cards for a long time.
Yeah.
And I agree with them removing them because from across the room, you can't tell them apart. They all look kind of the same. They have the exact same color, the exact same design. Unless you stare at them really up close, you can see the difference once you're up close.
Yeah.
But across the room, you can't tell. I agree with them moving to alt arts and Trainer Gallery cards and doing special illustration rares, because across the room, you can tell which special illustration rare is which immediately because they all look so different. They all pop in their own way. They're much more distinct and iconic, and I like that. I think this new era of art is fantastic. I love all the hits. They look good.
There is some good art. It is crazy because I personally did like the look of some of the rainbow alt arts.
Yeah.
But to your point, it was just the same art, and then they just took out the color scheme and then put the rainbow color scheme on it.
It was like a lazy way.
You could say that, yeah. But I still think they looked cool.
Yeah.
There's certain Pokemon that with the rainbow color scheme, the Champion's Path Charizard V Max.
Yeah.
I think that rainbow look on it, I think it just looks like a cool Pokemon card.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's not the correct colors of the Pokemon card. And if they had that same kind of look, or like they made a Charizard V Max alt art and it was texturized and sparkly and had a cool holo to it, maybe that would be a better, chase, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see what that goes.
Yeah.
Actually, we already did.
Well, yeah. I mean,
they still do kind of gold rare cards, and I like the new ones. If you've seen the ones from like Journey Together or the ones that they're doing recently, they look really good. The new gold rare cards, they look fantastic. They're more distinct. They pop. Their eyes sparkle. And I think the gold rare cards are actually underrated right now. The only one that's really popped off is the Pikachu from Surging Sparks, the gold rare one.
That one looks really cool, though.
That one looks really cool, but the other ones I don't think are that far behind. The fact that they're big chase cards, they're hard pulls, sometimes harder to pull than the special illustration rares even, and they're going for way less.
So exactly, do you feel like they are you just said that you feel they're undervalued.
Yeah, but they're currently underrated, but I don't know that it could take 10 years for the community to start appreciating them. It could take forever. I am not going to champion that fight and tell people to pick up those cards.
You know what's funny? The way that you just said that, I feel like, you know how we were talking about the illustration rares being like, $2, $3, but that's less than the pack. So why wouldn't you buy every single copy at $2 or $3?
Yeah, not every single copy, but any copy that you don't own. Like you shouldn't pick up like 50, but yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
Right, but it's like the idea. I feel like the same lesson can be learned with the gold cards.
Yes.
I guess I haven't looked at all the prices of every gold card out of Scarlet and Violet, but I'm sure there's some that are so cheap where you're like,
absolutely.
Wait a second. If this is even worth the price of one pack or two or honestly 3 or 4, because it's not like every 4 packs you pull a gold card, you would just buy that card, I feel.
So that's a great thing for the listener is you and I have done this thought experiment a lot of times. And we've talked about this, which is basically if you have a card and you're thinking, hey, this is a $5 card. If I buy booster packs for $5 and I pull this card, I would be absolutely stoked. You should just pick up that card.
Right.
And we do this all the time, which is you and I have talked about this where let's say for a booster box, if we say, hey, if we open up this booster box and we pull this card and it's a PSA 10, would we be insanely happy? And if the answer is yes, then we should just pick up that PSA 10, especially when that PSA 10 copy is less than the cost of that booster box.
Yes, right.
And that happens a lot. It's that, wait, this really awesome PSA 10 is like $40. You should just pick up that PSA 10 copy for $40 instead of trying to find it in a $200 booster box.
Right, because the amount of packs that you opened out of that $200 booster box, if it's such a small amount, guys, and you can just buy the card and it's already graded in a 10, you win. And actually, I think you just narrowed it down to why you and me and maybe other people out there, guys, when you're thinking of like collectors that try to collect in the hobby and make money in the hobby, again, that doesn't have to be your primary purpose. The hobby should be fun for you, and you should just enjoy collecting and buying what you like. But when I thought about being in this hobby and trying to just be like, well, if I could make some money in this hobby and enjoy the hobby with just the funds that I've dedicated for the hobby and not have to like extract so much money from when I used to have a day job or other things to put into the hobby, making that decision, what you just said, like those value propositions, finding the cards that are undervalued when you know what it takes to pull that card or buy packs or buy a box where that card comes from. That's how you kind of start to make money in the hobby is by making smart decisions.
I don't call it like making money. I call it like making value.
Making value.
But it's the same case.
Right. And money is our value vehicle, but it is that would be a more technical, more technically accurate description, making value. Yeah.
And the easy way that I would do it is that I would say there are these cards out there, by the way, guys, is that there are special illustration rare cards that are under $10.
Underappreciated.
There are so many special illustration rares that are under $10. And if you like that card, just pick it up.
Yes.
Because a special illustration rare under $10, you're probably never going to pull it in 2 packs. If you pull a special illustration rare from 2 packs and you're happy, and that card is worth $3 or $4, just pick up the card for $3 or $4.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason not to. If you like that card, stop trying to hunt for it in packs. Don't open up 40 booster packs to find a $4 special illustration rare that you want if you can just pick up that $4 special illustration rare.
And I guess, you know what, and see, I just heard you say, like, instead of hunting, like, I guess there are people out there that really like to hunt for their card.
That's
me.
I love hunting for cards.
Well, some people really, they want to pull the card themselves that they're really trying to find. And I guess to that point, maybe that person might not make as much in the, or maybe the better terminology would be that they probably maybe spend a lot more on the hobby because from a fiscal standpoint, what they're doing is just harder to achieve, right? It's less probable to pull the hit they're chasing. But when you do pull the hit that you're chasing, it just feels so good. I mean, I think that's why we all love opening up packs. It's like awesome when you get a big hit.
Absolutely. I love opening up packs. There's cards that I specifically try to hunt for in packs. Like in Crown Zenith, I specifically hunted for the Guillotine of each star.
Nice.
Took me way too many packs to pull that card. But it happened.
But we pulled it.
I pulled it, and I'm happy with my Guillotine of V-Star.
Nice.
But ultimately, if a special illustration rare that I'm chasing is $10, I'm just going to pick it up for $10.
Sure.
For a certain price point, it makes sense that you should just pick it up as singles no matter what. And that's what I'm trying to say is that for special illustration rares or top chase cards that are really hard to find in booster packs, if they're available on the market for under $10, that's the no-brainer kind of category. To just pick it up, it's like the cost of a coffee. Just pick it up.
Right. It's a very cost-effective play, guys, to just do that. And then it doesn't mean like every time you open a pack you should be evaluating like, oh, what are the hits inside and what are the values. I think also at the end of the day, especially with like the kids in the hobby, or if you're trying to get friends in, or I got to open up a pack. You know what? I was actually opening for a comic buddy of mine, and it was super fun because we were in the green room before the show, and we each got to open up a pack of one. Like I just brought some packs so we could open some for fun, and out of one pack he pulled the Alt Art Zapdos EX. And I think when he did it, he didn't like. I told him, I was like, "Oh, that's a very good pull. Like that card is."
But he didn't know it
money.
at the time.
Well, yeah, he was like, "Oh, this card." You could tell it looks more special.
He's like, "Oh, that's a cool card."
Right,
without knowing too much
it's
about
actually
it.
like, it's like what I don't know, like third, fourth, or fifth best pull from the entire set. So I was like, that's a great pull. The fact that you just did that, and there's always something special about not really caring about the values and just opening up packs for the fun of it with people. That's the community aspect of the hobby. And then he just did that. And then later he texted me and he's like, "Oh, dude, these are actually going for like a lot." And I was like, "I know, I told you it was a good card you pulled."
One of the fun memories that I still remember from the hobby is this was when Champions Path released. I went over to my girlfriend's dorm, and me and her and her dorm mates, we all opened up close to 150 Champions Path
you've told me that.
booster packs together. We pulled like 3 Charizard card.
Nice.
And that was a fun, like just 4 or 5 hour party. That was just a fun experience, and I still remember that.
Right.
That was just cool.
It's good memories, for the hobby. And so honestly, and those people probably pull those cards. And if it is a super rare card, you get super excited, and then there probably is some sentimental value that gets put into that card. They grade it, and then that's the card they don't want to trade or they don't want to sell at market because it reminds them of that special event. And I think we all have like kind of cards like that in our collection where maybe you just don't want to sell it, or it's like much harder for you to let go of because it just carries that sentimental value.
That exact thing happened, which is one of my girlfriend's dorm mates have no idea what Pokemon cards are.
She pulled the best.
Yeah, she pulled the Charizard, and she's waving it up, and she's like, "Hey, is this the card that you guys are looking for?" And I'm just going like, "Oh, it's the one."
It's always it's always the newbie that pulls better.
It's the newbie luck, guys.
Yeah, newbie luck.
First hit is always free, and then that's how they get you.
It's real. It's so real. It's like whenever you have new people in it. I've noticed. You know what's so funny? I'll open sometimes on stream sports cards for people.
Yeah.
Because some people that like to collect Pokemon will also collect sports cards.
Yeah.
And I do find I'll pull like good sports cards, and I firmly just believe it's because I don't have any expectation. I'm not chasing anything. I'm just opening up the pack, and then I'm like, oh, is this good? And it'll be like some rookie player from like the like second best pick in the league, and I'm like, oh, good. This is a good card then. And it's just, there is something to that. It's so funny.
So the reason why all those scenarios are happening so often now is because of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And we know that nostalgia sells really, really well. Because it connects new collectors with older collectors because they have something that they can connect with. It's like 151. 151 is a fantastic set that connects people that have been collecting for 20 years to now, which is...
That's a good point because...
Destined Rivals.
Right. We get the OG 151 Pokemon. It gives people that collected back during base set and jungle and fossil...
something that they remember.
Like, yes. It's like, oh, all the original Pokemon I remember loving when I was a kid.
But it introduces them to the new stuff like special illustration rares, illustration rares.
The modern artwork,
gray borders. So that they're not completely confused, right?
Right. And then... so it's smart for them to bring back something old. Another thing that they're bringing back that seems to have hit everyone in the nostalgia
berries.
Berries?
Nostalgia berries.
It hit you in the nostalgia berries is Destined Rivals, aka the new Team Rocket set. Jake, how do you feel about it?
I like it. If you look at the booster box design, dude, I was super nitpicky.
It does look cool.
I really like the booster box design.
Yeah.
If you look at the booster box design of Journey Together, it's very boring.
With the white, I know what you mean.
No offense to Journey Together, but this is a really boring booster box.
Yeah.
And the Destined Rival one kicks its butt. It's way better.
Yeah.
It's just a really well-designed box. And in my video, I know a lot of people do videos where they're talking about all kinds of stuff happening right now with Destined Rivals, how hard it is to find. In my video, I'm just trying to talk about the hobby. So I'm already doing stuff like speculation where I'm talking about just theory crafting things. Mm-hmm. And on the box cover for Destined Rivals, you got Giovanni and Mewtwo in the center of the box. And there is no Giovanni's Mewtwo card revealed yet.
Right.
But there has to be.
Yeah.
There has to be a Giovanni Mewtwo.
That's true. Yeah.
It hasn't been revealed, but it has to be in the set. He's right there in the front and center.
If they have it on the, if they have his photo
it would either be
Mewtwo.
It would either be the box topper, kind of like how N was the box topper.
Yeah.
So we might have a Giovanni's Mewtwo as a box topper, which would be insane.
I could see that.
But at a minimum, and I said no shot they're making a Destined Rival set without having a special illustration rare Giovanni Mewtwo.
Yes.
And that card, even though we don't know what it is yet or what it looks like, it will be the chase card.
Yeah, I could
100%.
I could see that. It'll definitely be something that, Mewtwo's a strong enough Pokemon that's like everyone's favorite, like
I'm going to speculate on the price right now. Minimum. I'm going to speculate on a card that I don't even know if it exists yet.
You haven't even seen it yet.
Minimum that card's $1,200.
In a PSA 10?
No, raw.
Wait, what?
$1,200 raw.
Well, not if it's the box topper.
No, if it's the box topper, obviously it'll be like a $50 card. But if it's a chase card,
you think if it's like the
rare,
Moonbryon in Evolving Skies, you think it has that potential power?
Well, here's the thing about...
I don't think it does.
Here's the thing. Destined Rival booster boxes, what is the cost of a Destined Rivals booster box minimum when it's released? $300. Minimum. Market price for a Destined Rivals booster box minimum. What's going to be the cost of the top chase card? Minimum. It has to be a $1,200 card. And it has to be that price simply because of the insane prices of Destined Rivals. I'm not making this call out because I want to pump an imaginary card that I don't even know exists. I just, based on all the information I have to base it on that price. It's going to be a $1,200 minimum card.
It does seem like a lot of people, you know what I'll say? I almost want to see, I know the Glory of Team Rocket, which is the Japanese set that's going to be, obviously paired with Heat
You know what the price
Arena.
is on the Japanese booster boxes for Glory of Team Rocket?
I do. They're really,
insane.
really expensive.
They're absolutely
It's like
insane.
they're over 300 for like what is supposed to be an MSRP, like $40, $45.
Yeah, it's a $40
box.
booster box that's going for hundreds of dollars. Imagine the prices on these cards. It's insane.
I gotta see it, but you're making the claim that the Giovanni's Mewtwo alt art will have the same kind of like power as the alt art Umbreon from
yes,
Evolving
I put it on
Skies.
that level. It's
Man.
Giovanni's Mewtwo.
I don't know if it has that kind of same.
Would you have said that about the Umbreon VMAX on release date? Like Did you have that immediate impact from Umbreon VMAX on release date?
I mean,
I bet you didn't.
I remember thinking, oh, this card is very cool looking. I do remember thinking, oh, this will be the most expensive card. That I feel like, well, it was either between that or the Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike. But it was like, I remember thinking it was going to be a top card, but obviously the rest of the rest of the Sword and Shield block hadn't come out yet, so I didn't know if it'd be the top chase of like the entire era of Sword and Shield.
If I remember correctly, when I saw Evolving Skies, I thought the top chase card in Evolving Skies was going to be the Rayquaza VMAX.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And I thought second place might be like Sylveon VMAX, and third place would be Umbreon. And I thought they would all be fairly close in terms of price.
That's what I thought.
And then the Umbreon VMAX
skyrocketed. Yeah.
And I think the Mewtwo's Giovanni's Mewtwo will be the top hitter by a large margin. And that's including things like the Cynthia's Garchomp and the Ethan's Ho-Oh, which are still big chase cards.
Well, yeah, but then by your logic, then the way that you thought, see, that's what I think is going to happen.
Those cards will probably be like $300, but the Mewtwo will be $1,200.
Well, I think you just kind of not prove my point, but like it's funny how you're saying you remember how you just said you thought the Rayquaza VMAX would be the top chase.
And I was wrong, and I'm okay with that. No, I might be wrong. We're talking about a card that we don't know exists yet.
Well, exactly. But
I'm gonna make.
I guess if it to your point, if it looks incredible, and it just commands this like aura of like, oh, this is the best drawn like card of like the Scarlet Violet era, then you could be right. And then I don't know, they could make it like for example, not to like say this artist is bad or not, but the alt art Charizard from 151. Still commands a very high price point because it's a Charizard. But I think as for an alt art, I mean, he's only like 10% of the card.
Which one? Which
the alt art Charizard from 151.
Oh, right.
The fat belly
I got you.
Yeah, it's like not that crazy. And if they do Giovanni's Mewtwo like that, where the art is just like, like maybe the focus isn't the Mewtwo and it's
see
just
where
the
you're
scenery.
Coming from this. And
so we got to see the card is what I'm saying.
We will for sure have to see the card, or if even it exists.
But that's true.
But basically, looking at the data from the set, Destined Rivals will probably have around 13 to 15 special illustration rares.
It's got a lot of hype for it, too.
And it's got a lot of hype for it.
Yeah.
The booster boxes are going to be expensive. The top special illustration rare is going to be a hard pull. You probably will only pull one of it in every single 4 or 5 booster box case. And a booster box case of Destined Rival is going to be expensive. It's going to be like $2,000 a booster box case.
Right.
So that's $12,000 to pull this one card. I think it's got to be $1,200. And I know that's a bold statement, but I like to make hot takes. You got to make hot takes. You got to take some risk in the hobby. You can't just play it safe forever. So I'm going to say this imaginary card, $1,200 minimum.
We'll come back to it.
And I'm a conservative
We'll come back to
dude.
it 6 months from now. You know?
I'm a conservative dude. Most people would actually think like I normally play it safe. I'm pretty conservative. And I think I'm being conservative based on the math and the numbers that we know. I put in the thoughts of like the numbers, the math, the cost of a sealed booster box, the amount of cards inside, the pull rates. If you look at the amount of illustration rares, I think it has to be at that price point.
I see what you mean. Yeah, like you're supporting data to like, you know, kind of support your thesis. It makes sense to me. I mean, I guess the only
thing... If the Pokemon
thing...
company is dumb, okay, maybe they won't even...
make the card. I see what you're saying. I think it's got
Scratch that. Guys.
I think it's got to be in there. Like I think that's pretty a safe call to make that there's gonna be a Giovanni's or at least a Rocket's Mewtwo EX, like something rockety.
I don't want to say it like that, but the Pokemon company is very in tune with what they're doing right now. They know what they're doing. They know how to make a good card. They know what will hit, and whoever's making this. Giovanni's Mewtwo will absolutely make it pop. I don't know which artist is doing it. I don't know who's working on it, but they're going to put their heart and soul into this card. There is no way that this card is going to be a boring card. There's no way this special illustration rare Mewtwo is going to be boring. Impossible.
You could have said that about like 151. They're bringing back base set. The Charizard's going to be this like crazy card.
I understand where you're coming from too. And even though it's not a crazy looking art, it's still it's top chase card of the set, and it's not a cheap card by any imagination.
That is true. It is still that's right. It is. Is it the most expensive in 151?
It is. The Charizard is still the most expensive by far.
That makes sense.
And
I like the Blastoise SIR better.
I like the Venusaur better.
Really?
The Venusaur just has so much more like art in
got
it.
Got a lot of color on it.
I like the Blastoise, and this is where like you and I differ from an art perspective, is that you have like your likes. I like messy or complex art. The more stuff is happening in the art, the more I like it. Immediately.
So you definitely like Shinji Kanda and
Kind of.
Tomokazu Komoya then.
I do like them, but their art is more messy. I like clean messy. Does that make sense?
Well,
For
those
example,
are.
let me give you
I
an
get what you're
example.
trying to say, though.
The Venusaur EX is really messy in that there's a lot happening in the art.
It is,
but it's clean.
It is clean, yeah.
And another one that's clean but messy would be like the Sylveon V Max from Evolving Skies. There's a lot going in the art, but it's really clean.
Clean. You don't like the Giratina alt art because that's too messy for you?
I like it. I haven't pulled it. But I do like it, but I don't like enough to collect. It doesn't fit into my collection. Because my collection is bright, colorful cards, and the Giratina is obviously more of a dark color card.
Yeah.
So it would stand out in my collection,
When you have it in front of you, though, it does look very cool.
Yeah, if I pull it, I'll have it in my collection, but I never pull it. And it's not a card that I'm going to actively try to pick up. And this is where, we differ from an investor, is that I'm not just picking up cards that I think is going to go up in value. I pick cards that
you
specifically fit in my collection.
Right, yeah. Right. And that's, again, guys, that's why we always preach, just collect what you love. Because if you collect what you love, you really can't mess up, because then you don't care kind of how the card appreciates or does well or does bad over time. And I found anything that I really just collect because I enjoy how it looks. When I've gotten cards like the Battle Festas, that's the only reason I pick those up. And those have only appreciated, but it's just because I think I guess other people agree with how I feel about it, in that they're sick looking cards,
Yeah.
So
the funny thing is, a lot of people like to say oh, I made the call on this card. I made the call on that card. I'm going to be real and just say I got lucky. I got lucky to be collecting the right things at the right time.
Sure.
Because honestly, it doesn't really matter what Pokemon cards you bought or what Pokemon cards products you bought. It doesn't matter. If you bought any Pokemon cards 5-10 years ago, you did good.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything you bought 5-10 years ago, you probably
has
did
appreciated.
Really well. So it doesn't really matter that you're an ETB collector or I'm a booster box collector, or you're a promo collector, or I'm a Japanese collector. If we bought anything 5 or 10 years ago, we both did well.
Such is the magic of Pokemon cards. And it's so funny, you brought up the ETBs. What you were saying about the, I think the booster boxes for Destined Rivals. Dude, the booster or the elite trainer boxes for
I was going to ask you
Rivals,
about that.
They look sick.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a rocket box.
That's exactly what I said.
I like the red R, and then there's the splash. I mean, it is kind of lazy in that, again, it's the same image, and I think all they did between the Pokemon Center version and the regular version,
they inverted the colors.
The red and black and the black and red.
But here's the thing again, where I think the regular ETB looks better than the Pokemon Center ETB.
Yeah.
Because the black on red looks better than the red on black.
Well, no, I think it's weird. The R is red in both, but there's a black.
Yeah, so
I have to see pictures of it. It's
basically
not a complete flip flop.
The basic Destined Rivals Elite Trainer box is a lot more black, which makes sense.
Correct.
Because it looks like the Rocket Briefcase, which I agree with.
Why I think it looks cooler.
And the Pokemon Center one is significantly more red.
Yes.
And it looks, I get it, but I think it looks less cool.
It looks less cool. I agree. Yeah. I like the regular ETB look better because it just looks, it almost kind of from far away, you would be like, oh, it's like the Rocket Briefcase. Yeah. It just looks like, the red on black, the classic look.
I reviewed all the items inside of the set, and I agree with you. I like both of the... I like the booster box design. I like the Elite Trainer box design. I even like the sleeves design. The sleeves is Mewtwo and Giovanni on the sleeves. It's a pretty basic artwork, but it's a huge step up from the Surging Sparks Lightning Energy sleeves.
Yeah,
so everything's better about the set. So I'm happy with it. I just want them to print enough of it. And from the pre-order numbers from the Pokemon Center that happened last week when the set was revealed, it doesn't look like they print enough.
Yeah.
And I knew that this was going to occur, is that basically Destined Rivals print run is probably 20 or 30% higher than Journey Together, when really it needs to be 300%.
Yeah, 300. Yeah. So, but would you say, I hope Destined Rivals isn't 20 or 30% more, but hopefully 60 to 70% more, or you think it's the same?
In terms of print run size?
Yeah,
okay, 100% Destined Rivals is a larger print run than Journey Together.
Right.
100%. But it's not enough.
Yeah, okay, I see what
Nowhere
you're saying.
near enough.
Right. I'm glad that it's going to be more, and we think it's more. We talked about this on the last pod, just because people are already finding Destined Rivals stuff in the wild, which means that they've been printing it for a while. But we don't think it's going to meet demand. And yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I don't know
That's based on just the Pokemon Center pre-order numbers.
Yeah.
Is that the Pokemon Center pre-orders for Destined Rivals lasted between 1 to 2 hours. Right around from the time of its release to the time that it fully sold out, it lasted between 1 to 2 hours when everyone was trying to pick those up, which is considered long in terms of compared to Journey Together, which sold out immediately.
Right.
But the only reason Destined Rivals lasted 1 to 2 hours was because they limited limited the purchase quantity on the Pokemon Center down to a limit of 1 per person.
Correct. And so, guys, that was nice because on the Pokemon Center, if you were awake and you got alerted, one thing that we think is so funny is like you have to basically have the link to the item you're trying to pre-order because they kind of just ghost put it up. Like if you're just on the Pokemon Center and you try to search Destined Rivals, nothing comes up. But if you have the link to the Destined Rivals Pokemon Center ETB, you can go to a page where suddenly it like shows that they're selling it. I mean, right now it'll say unavailable, but and then so they did something different, which was this whole queue line, and that was supposed to, fight bots.
I don't think
it really did.
Hang on.
You think it was better?
Well, hang on. They never said that they were fighting bots.
Oh, right.
I'll give them that. It's that like I
guess that's true.
Basically, I think the queue system is designed to make sure their website does not crash.
Fair.
And in that respect, it worked. In that the Pokemon Center did not crash.
Wait, it crashed when I was trying to get in.
Well, it still crashed for some people, but it didn't crash for everyone.
Okay,
it at least mitigated crashing for people. And I don't think they were ever trying to do it to stop bots.
You're right. That's me just being like, that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Pokemon just done a thing to really try to stop bots?
They definitely do stop some stuff. Is that I purchased one Pokemon Center ETB of Destined Rivals, and I definitely try to purchase a second one. Well, hang on, Jake. I have a wife. I have multiple people inside of my life, and I use their name. Like they're purchasing their version, and they can't get it. So I try to use a different phone number. We use a different email. We use a different phone number. We use a different name. We use a different credit card. And the Pokemon Center never let us pick up a second Pokemon Center ETB. So that's at least good news is that I don't know if a botter or someone out there is able to purchase hundreds of these. If they can, they figured out something. But I at least could not purchase a second one. So I guess they're doing something.
I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, if you're a botter or you have experience with dude, I would love to speak to someone that knows that world because like we've talked about but I don't even know how botting works. Like when people talk about that, like to set that up and to do that, I think a lot of people have this misconception of like, oh, you just buy a thing and you can download it on your computer and it'll be smart enough to you can target a website with it and it'll just auto buy things for you and it'll auto send it to your address. And I think it's a lot more complicated than that.
It's absolutely a lot more complicated. I think the basic people think it's just some dude in some garage out there somewhere who's doing this. But no, this is like large companies, large group of people. The way I see it,
bots.
Yeah. Basically, you're not talking about some dude in a garage. This is a large company with multi-million-dollar background that's doing this.
Oh, well, then that's awful. How do we stand a chance against that?
You don't. Basically, as a normal human being who's just trying to purchase one item for your kid, you do not stand a chance. And the Pokemon company is ultimately the one that should be setting the rules and expectations for that. Because and this is just a theory, but the people that are picking up the vast majority of these booster boxes is not some random dude in a garage, but it's very large companies that do reselling. And I'm not talking about someone that's selling a couple of booster boxes here. I'm talking about a large website, Amazon level size, who's picking up all of these to sell them off.
To resell. But then wouldn't we be able to identify those websites that are doing that, or people would know to
I would say this. Legally, I cannot say it's Amazon. Legally, I don't want to say it's Amazon.
Oh,
but if you're,
but you think-
but if you're Amazon, I'm not going to say it's Amazon. But if Amazon's size,
You have the ability to do that.
you have the ability to bot the system and purchase
Interesting.
10,000 of these to sell on your own website. Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I
You
guess.
legally can do that because you're that size. You have the capability to. You have the address to.
You think it's worth their time?
To make hundreds of thousands of dollars, perhaps.
But they can just do that by being Amazon, even though we're not
That is
talking
being
about Amazon.
That is being Amazon, right? I'm not saying it's Amazon because there's many other companies that do very similar stuff.
I see what you're saying,
but that is
like,
what they do.
Okay, right. So like you legit mean like not but
No,
there
I
are
literally mean not Amazon, but
Amazon-like companies, right?
Amazon-like
They
companies
exist
that are smaller than Amazon. But are scrappier and they need to find inventory. And how are they going to find inventory?
Right.
They have the
Bought a site, right.
They have the resources. They have the IT folks.
That's
they have
true.
the capabilities
I see what you're
to
saying.
have 1,000 addresses, 1,000 phone numbers.
all that, right? And
things
so
that I don't have.
And because they have 1,000 addresses, 1,000 phone numbers, they literally they don't just bot just from Pokemon Center, but they do that, and other places do that. But then they're also probably botting certain goods from like Target or Costco's website too. And so it's just botting any sort of like
Correct.
good that they think that they can resell for a profit. And then like that's how that business runs.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
A lot of people were saying this is that as soon as the Prismatic Evolution Super Premium Collection sold out, I made a video talking about how I couldn't get one from the Pokemon Center. And a lot of the people in the comments were saying, oh, that's so funny, Jake, because as soon as your video went up, there was an ad on your channel linking to StockX selling super premium collections for $1,000.
Oh my gosh, for 1,000?
Well, it's probably 4.
Something.
It was
expensive.
probably not just one, but significantly more than whatever the Pokemon Center was selling for.
I get it.
But if you're a large distributor, it would make sense that you would have the capability to do that. That's why I'm saying it's not some random dude in a garage somewhere. You need to have a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of technology to be able to do this, to bot at that level. And it's not some random dude. It is absolutely large, multi-million-dollar corporation.
You don't think there
and
are
we would never
just,
stand a chance.
You don't think there are just some random dudes that like
Absolutely.
maybe do bot from their garage?
You could probably bot from your garage, but you're not going to be picking up the vast majority of those boxes.
I guess, right.
That's the difference. Is that the dude in the garage might be able to bot a couple,
10,
but he's not going to be able to bot
hundreds.
the 10,000 ETBs.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And that's the whales are the issues.
You're probably right about that. And the whales are the issues. It is the. I think that I was almost gonna make a video. I think it was like Poke Sun. Shout outs to Sun, by the way, who had a story where they were basically like, or she said, she had this like post where it was all these orders of like hundreds of orders, and she made a good point where I think a lot of people get mad at scalpers, and I mean you can do that if you want, but you know, the people that even wait in line to go to stores where it's like, you know, it's not worth our time. And we've even talked about how it's probably a mix of scalpers, but there are probably also just some collectors that are trying to get product, and then maybe when they have the opportunity to get more, that may be their only opportunity in months to get more than like a couple packs. And they might be the type of person that would only get a couple packs, but because they have the opportunity to get more and stuff is so scarce, they're not really scalping, but they're getting more. And I think a lot of people like give a lot of heat to those types of folks when really it's like that's not even that's like a crumb compared to the companies you just mentioned that bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon cards. And
by the way, legally, I'm not accusing any specific company. I'm just thinking it's probably some multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yeah, you should have just said Schmamazon for every time you said Schmamazon.
It's something similar to an Amazon-esque size.
Yeah.
I don't think Amazon's going to specifically sue us. Please don't sue at Amazon.
Similar to Schmamazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Or Ski Bay.
Ski Bay.
Or
Box X.
Box X. Yeah, exactly. And then, okay, and you know what's so funny? So why in Japan is it easier? So Japan does lotteries. This is actually the perfect segue into the fact that we can also talk about the Rockets briefcase that was just announced. Yeah. We don't think there's going to be an English version of it, but there's a Japanese Rockets briefcase, which is a callback to a old school Rockets briefcase
From the 20th anniversary.
that used to have what were the Giovanni's scheme, right? Is that what it's called?
I'm just going to say it. It's a Giovanni's Full Art Trainer card and a Jesse and James Full Art Trainer card.
Right.
Let's just say that.
It's Jesse and James with a Meowth.
Yep.
That alt art, and then I think it's Giovanni's scheme. But yeah, it's got
Both
Giovanni
look really
with,
good, and they're both drawn by fantastic artists. They look really, really cool.
Yes.
Great promo cards. They're worth an insane amount of money now.
Yeah.
The new Rockets briefcase is still really, really solid. I don't think it actually comes with the accessories, does it?
No, it does. So
it comes with all the accessories?
Well, we were kind of talking about how it doesn't come with any unique promo cards. We'll get into that because I know we both think that's lame. But I think it does come with your, I think a Rocket, I think a deck box, sleeves. I don't know if there's a play mat, but I think they said there's also 30 Glory of Team Rocket packs in it.
Yeah,
so
which
it comes
is nice.
with a ton of packs.
The fact that it has no promo cards
is kind of a bummer.
It definitely devalues on the cool tier. It's still a cool product. I would like to have one for display inside of our podcast or our studio
we could put it,
or wherever.
Right here.
Yeah, it would definitely be a cool collectible to add for display.
Right.
But I would keep it sealed. There's no reason to ever open it.
Sure. Right. Oh, right. Because there's no special card inside.
Exactly. There's no reason to ever open it. It's just a cool display briefcase. It's going for, I think, like $120 retail or something like that, and it's pure lottery. This is one of those things where it cannot be bought in Japan, which
nice.
is good because you have to verify a phone number. You have to verify a Japanese address. They do multiple verification. You don't just win the lottery. You have to re-verify after you win the lottery that you're legit before you can even get it.
Wait, so how can we get one?
We can't.
No, we got to.
We can get one from someone in Japan, if that makes sense. But you and I cannot enter that lottery.
We need Japanese friends, Japanese card loungers. Let us know in the comments if you're able to help Jake and I get a Rockets briefcase.
Well, they would have to enter. Well, they have to enter the lottery
for
and
themselves.
They have to win.
I know,
and that's how hard it is.
Maybe they got them, and they can. I don't know. Their mom's house is somewhere.
I can't imagine. Because it's
they got a sister.
Because it's an actual briefcase. I can't imagine they're printing that many of them.
I know.
They will produce a solid amount, couple thousand, but this is not some mass-produced item. It's meant to be a premium product.
Okay, so because of that, how much do you think this goes for in the aftermarket for forget the rest of the world, just for the USA? Like how many collectors do you know here that want this Rockets briefcase? I know a ton.
Here's the thing about this product, though. I think it is one of those things that immediately when it's released, it's going to spike up in value quite a bit, where everyone's like, buy. But I do think this is one of those products where after the hype of the initial release, it actually does go down. I think it will go down, and it'll eventually go back up. But that initial spike at release is going to be a lot more than people think.
I would say that, except for the fact of, you just
it will eventually appreciate in value.
Of course,
but I do think it will decline in the near term.
But they're not going to make that many because, like you said, they have to print a huge briefcase that's nice looking.
It just depends.
Every
I agree.
item.
I don't know how many they'll print. Is it 500? Is it 5,000? Because even those two numbers make a huge difference.
Well, right. And I guess what I'm saying is if it's on the lighter side, if there's only 500 of these briefcases,
they'll go
I
for
don't see
thousands.
it ever going down. Just see it going up.
If there's only 500 of these, you're absolutely right. It'll go for.
That'd be insane.
It'll go for thousands, and it'll stay at thousands.
Yeah.
If they print 5,000, I could see 5 to 10,000 of these briefcases. I can see the scenario that I'm talking about is that immediately after release, it goes for $400 or $500.
Yeah.
But everyone that wants it at $400, $500 picks it up, and it is still a niche product because it is a briefcase. It's large,
You're right.
And
that's true.
And after every single hardcore collector picks it up, the only people that you're selling it to are casual collectors who might want to spend less on it. It might go to $500 and it'll drop down to $300, and then it'll eventually once more and more people start collecting 5-10 years down the line, it goes back up to thousands.
Right, and that's true. That's inevitable. I do think the best. The thing that kind of supports your idea the best is the fact that because there's no unique promo card inside, I could see a lot of people maybe they're like, oh, it's cool, but I wouldn't spend $500 on it, and they wouldn't because there's no unique promo card inside.
Yeah.
So unless that price point dips to a price where they go, oh, I would spend that for the 30 packs inside, for the, blah, 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 or to just keep it sealed.
Yeah, if I buy one, I'm just going to keep it sealed. I'm not going to open it because
Yeah.
there's no reason to open it because any of the content inside of it, I can find Glory of Team Rocket packs out there, Like
Right.
There's no card inside that I have to open to find that
Get
card.
it. Yeah, you're
and
right.
that's the difference.
I see because you're like, I guess if you got it and you want to open it and you want to use the briefcase, but you don't need to get the 30 packs inside there. You can just go find 30.
Yeah, this
Glory
is
of Team
why
Rocket
exclusive products with unique promo cards go up in value.
Yeah.
Like the Mario Pikachu
Yep.
or the Japan Post promo, because you have to rip it open to get the cool cards inside.
Yeah.
But for every one that you rip open, there's one less out
of
there.
that sealed item. Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about with that lever before.
That was a perfect little loop-de-loop back around. Yeah, I think there's going to be just such insane hype for Destined Rivals. I hope it's something that they print more of, that people and collectors are able to get their hands on. I mean, right now, Journey Together is out, so I think a lot of people are at least happy that they can get a hold of this set since it is a booster box set, as opposed to like Prismatic Evolutions where you have to find special boxes.
I was
in the
just
shop.
talking about this, dude,
Yeah.
which is the last time we've had a booster box. We're searching Sparks.
Right, which
and
was
that
a
was
while
back in
ago.
November. That was like 5 months ago.
Was that really in November when that dropped?
It was the last set of 2024. So yes.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was
Which is why it feels like it's been so long since we've opened up a booster box, right?
correct. Yeah. Hey, you know what? We tied before on the 3-pack battle.
we did.
You want to just open up one more pack each?
Okay, here's a fun one. If we keep tying, we keep opening until one of us wins.
Wins. Okay. And then all the cards are still given away to one of you guys. So leave those comments down below.
Yep. Leave
All
us
right.
a comment. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll pick one of the comments as a winner to get all of these Journey Together cards.
Till there's a winner. I've got a Hop and Zacian pack.
And I got a Lily Sclefairy, so
Ooh.
spicy.
All right. Who's better?
You want to start with your pack?
I can start with my pack. Okay. I've got
Basic Energy, Psychic.
Psychic. Professor's Research. Man, how many times are they going to print
It's a staple.
Research?
It's a staple in the
Cutify.
CCG.
Petalil. I know. Mincino.
Cappuccino.
Ends PP up.
Ends PP up.
Ends PP up.
Ends PP up.
Pelipper. Hops Bag. Hops Wooloo. Ends Sigalith.
Butterfree, Hollow
Oh
Rare.
my gosh. If you
got-
can't beat a Butterfree, then
Cramorant.
Floragato.
Floragato. Rookadee.
Ends
Clink.
Clink. It sounds funny.
Spiky Energy.
Spiky Energy.
Excelgor.
Selgor. Hops Corviknight. Postwick. Kecleon. Oh
Lilies.
my gosh.
The ultra rare Lily's Clefairy EX. So congratulations who pulls all of these cards. Rob and I will autograph one of these cards and send them out to the winner.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching the Card Lounge podcast,
Thank you,
episode
guys.
11.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace.